Hello, everyone, and welcome back to D&D&D&D&D, campaign number 1, Under Locks and Keys. When we last left off, the party managed to negotiate with Captain Imamu Merrick to enter the Doomspell Tournament of Plundan, where the prize on offer is the Spear of Ares, which, as far as they know, is the next key they need to get the halfway point of their grand quest. However, it will not be as simple as they had expected, of a simple hack and slash using the tactics they've familiarized themselves with to get to the end of the tournament. Imamu fancies himself an alchemist and has engineered something he calls polymorphic powder, which, on being inhaled, causes your characters to revert to a new form that comes with new abilities and new restrictions. As of now, we are no longer playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. We are playing Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 1st edition, where it all began, sort of. Things are going to get messy, but this is not going to be a perfect dance of the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons rules. We are trying to have fun here first and foremost. So if any nerds
are not conducive to that.
Yeah, so if any big fans of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons notice we're doing something wrong, while I would be curious to know for future mechanical reference, if you're upset about it, I am sorry, but I also don't care.
And go back to the 80s.
Or, just enjoy playing it with friends who share your interest. With that, as you all look around and take in your new forms and the strange sights and sensations that come with them, you turn your attention to Imamu, who is kind of looking over all of you with what you swear may be a small degree of smugness, as he seems pretty satisfied about the confusion that's overtaking every fighter on the field. As you guys are not alone in your confusion and potentially new forms.
I mean, Avaven didn't change that much. He's just now a regular elf.
To be fair, though, I think if something similar happened to you in real life, you'd still be pretty damn confused.
It'd be like if I turned into a different race, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Quite literally in this case.
So, I do have a question.
What's that?
The champion from the previous tournament, was he affected as well, or did he step away?
Yes, he is now an elven fighter. Although he seems to be taking it pretty well. You watch as Imatwa he does kind of look over himself, seeming kind of interested, but his muscular physique has not changed, and he doesn't seem so thrown off that he can't figure it out. And after a little bit of kind of just adjustment and examination, he goes back to staring impassively, kind of showing off to the crowd a little bit and to Imamu, but otherwise just on his regular behavior.
Okay, so he is a competitor. Great.
Imamu turns and, tapping on his staff to re-amplify his voice, as the crowd kind of starts getting hyped up again now that you guys have familiarized yourself, at least to an immediate degree, with your new forms. He turns to the crowd and, with a wide smile, "Things were different at the dawn of the Third Age. Magic was not as well understood, and war and combat were brutal, unforgiving, and harsh. Our fighters and competitors here are going to have to learn how things were done in the old days, used by the original 13 Dragon Slayer, who founded the Knights Orders we all know today, and the first adventuring academy in Perugia. You may remember those dragon slayers. A human warrior, an elf wizard, a dwarf cleric, and a halfling rogue. Dragon slayers came from all over the world in that ancient crusade, and you shall see a replication of those very wars today. Or shall I say, tomorrow night. Fighters, get some sleep and familiarize yourself with your new bodies. Tomorrow night, you will find at the entrance of each of the arenas who you will be competing against and when. And remember, and he gives all of you behind him a wink, be on your best behavior, be kind to one another, and when the battle begins, show no mercy. And he looks back to the crowd and, with a deep bow and a twirl of his staff, he slams it on the ground, and the champion does the same with the Spear of Ares, creating this sound that echoes around the arena. Return to your festivities, and we will see you again tomorrow for our first round of combat. And the crowd lets off a cheer and another uproarious lashing of swords and gunfire from the pirates as Imamu taps on his staff and turns to all of you as the crowd is cheering and giving like a standing ovation, and some are already starting to head out of the arena and back to the top deck as he smiles to all of you as the various fighters, both major and minor league, gather around you. And if anyone has any questions or finds this arrangement not agreeable, feel free to visit me in my office. My door's always open to my fighters. Are there any questions?
13?
Pardon me, you were a Vaben, if I recall. What was your question?
Asking out of character.
Oh, what was up?
Didn't he say 13 Dragon Slayers?
Yes.
I think you need to work on your math. That does not equal 13.
He gives a smile, and there were others, but they were the most memorable. The ones that history looks upon the fondest.
The ones that survived.
He kind of gives a small nod, and besides, these people didn't come for a history lesson. They came to see fights. Just trying to hype up the crowd a little bit.
Oh, you did a good job at that.
Would you believe that this is the second time in like a month that I've looked like this?
Given the circumstances, I would, actually. I'd be happy to give you a more permanent dose if you like.
I think I'll be fine.
Very well.
You should use this on that enemy of yours and then kill him while he's confused.
I am interested in making such a proposition to the Brethren of the Coast, but I would prefer that they see what I'm capable of. Perhaps after this tournament is all said and done, I'll propose it to them before they make sail. That's not a terrible idea. He gives a smile and, well, best of luck to all of you. You may return to your locker rooms.
Is there a specific place that we can experiment?
He gives a smile, and he was already starting to walk away, but he kind of pauses and looks over his shoulder again, and you get the impression that he was actually hoping you would ask something like that as you see a wide smile on his face. And I'm glad you asked, Dr. Koo. He looks over all the fighters, and I know that a few of you have been making some extra-legal explorations of my storerooms. And Greylog, at a glance, you can see the two men that had assisted you in breaking into the animal area kind of like put their hands behind their back and look a little uncomfortable. But not to worry. Nothing in your contract says you're not allowed to wander, at least during the day. Some of you who did that exploration may recall that I had rooms full of weapons. Those weapons were not ordinary. They're from the very eras and regions that your new abilities come from. You are free to explore and try to find the equipment that would best suit you in these circumstances, and if you're lucky, you may even find something a bit special. Anything you find I would request that you return after you're done with it. Most of it will be useless to you after this round anyhow. But he gives a smile. To the winner of this tournament, if you come across an item you're particularly fond of, I'd be more than willing to negotiate engineering you a substitute that you can work with comfortably, in addition to the given prize of monetary value and the spear. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
What is unfair?
As for
I'm ready for
experiment,
I
tomorrow.
want to know how a bunch of pirates got a godly spear.
he gives you a smile and, I need to be getting back to my office, but walk and talk with me. I'd be happy to tell you the story.
Very well.
For the
I am allowed to be out right
experimentation,
now. Isn't there a rule?
One person at a time. Avaven, what were you asking?
Out of character. Isn't it like close to night?
It is night right now. The sun has just set.
Maybe it's just gonna be like, am I going to get penalized for being out at night?
He kind of smiles and gives you a wink and a chuckle. As long as you're with me, and I'll have Nitro walk you back to the locker room.
Very well, I guess.
And what was your question, Dr. Koo?
You were going to say something about where we can experiment.
As I was saying, the rooms where I store the weapons are made with the assumption that things are going to get a little messy, and you, the twins, and Greylog all recall that the room with the animals was armor plated on the inside. If it can resist a cannonball, I'm sure it can resist a little bit of spell casting.
Stop.
Yeah. That it is.
We better get back to the locker before we get in trouble.
The festival doesn't get shortened by somebody accident removing themselves from the tournament.
He gives a smile, and it's happened once or twice in the past. I suggest everyone be cautious now that the tournament's begun, and he kind of lowers his voice, as at this point most of the fighters are already returning to their locker rooms. Most of them either already know the story of how Plundan got the spear or just don't care. So while you're not completely alone, a couple of the fighter teams are lingering. He kind of lowers his voice to just for only your team to hear as to the best of his ability. Now that the tournament's begun, I suggest you keep a close eye on anyone you consider an ally. Sabotage is not unheard of. It's almost a tradition on this ship. Watch your backs. I would hate for my personal prodigies to come unto an embarrassing defeat.
Also, curiosity, if somebody on a team breaks a rule, could the rest of the team just kick them out to stay in? Or does the whole team have to fall?
He kind of crosses his arms at that and kind of actually tilts his head, seeming like he actually genuinely hadn't considered that. And after a bit of thinking, he kind of gives a nod and I'll decide based on the situation.
Just curiosity.
He gives you a nod, and curiosity is something to be admired. I wouldn't be where I am if I wasn't a curious soul. And he nods to Asari and Greylog. Will you two be returning to the locker room then?
I was actually interested in hearing the story.
Oh, well, by all means, come along.
And I will head to the locker for now.
I will
Right.
be there shortly. I have a mic.
Paul, will you be returning to the locker room with Greylog and the twins, or are you going to be joining Avaben and Asari to walk with Imamu and learn exactly how Plundan got their hands on the spear? Okay.
I see
Paul-
what you did there.
Paul kind of jogs alongside to catch up to Greylog and the twins, who the twins are kind of stumbling a little bit, seeming like they're not fully used to not only walking everywhere, but also walking in their new bodies. And the twins are kind of supporting each other as they go along. as Paul, Greylog, and the twins return to the locker room. And Imamu gives Avaben and Asari a wave to follow as he, with the spear still in the champion's hands, and he kind of clutches it protectively as he goes in the opposite direction to head to the major league locker rooms and presumably the champion room, which you remember is next to his office. He smiles at you two as everyone else just kind of leaves at this point and starts returning to the locker room, with the exception of the young boy in the colorful pajamas, who you recall Avaben was sponsored by Brother Ares. He also tags along with the two of you, seeming interested in the story of the spear, and kind of looks at Imamu with this almost like reverence. His form hasn't been changed by the polymorphic powder, given that he was human when it started. And he kind of looks at the two of you with a small smile, seeming a little awkward and anxious, but trying to be social. And once you guys have left the arena, and Imamu just kind of makes casual conversation along the way, kind of talking amiably. You're also free to enter the arena whenever a fight's not ongoing if you want to have a little bit more room to practice. But bear in mind, the arena's a big place, and it's possible for people to be skulking about watching you. So I suggest you keep a weather eye out.
If I beat the crap out of somebody who tries to sabotage me, can I drag them to you and you'll throw them off the ship?
I will see to it personally that they are
I was
thrown
actually
overboard.
going to say something quite similar. If they are going to watch us, at least they can at least know what they're up against.
I do not tolerate unfair play on my vessel. I want everyone to prove their strength through honest means. So, yes, I will personally
Given
see
your
to the
contract-
discipline.
Your contract did technically specify hot.
He smiles and gives you a wink. I would like to value strength, but I also think intelligence and cleverness is something to be admired in the right circumstances. As I said, it wasn't just elven wizards and human warriors that slay the dragons. It was also something as small and unassuming as a halfling thief. And once you guys are in the roundabouting hallways of Plundan's below decks, occasionally the other teams wander around, getting to the various locker rooms. And the two of you with the human boy in tow and Imamu leading the way, walking along, as you can see Nitro is already kind of jogging to keep pace and walk alongside Imamu, who gives him a nod and a hand on the shoulder. And he turns to the three of you over his shoulder with a smile. And it is a fair question, Avaben, why pirates, of all people, would be trusted with an artifact of the gods. I was not there for it, obviously. I'm not that old. But, as I believe you may already know, this vessel, Plundan, was constructed and founded at the dawn of the Third Age by the very first Brethren of the Coast. Piracy is a tradition of this world. It goes back to at least the Second Age, if not longer. We constructed Plundan at the dawn of the Third Age to create us a mobile port where we could escape when pirate hunters have us cornered. And the gods oversaw that construction, and seeking allies in the New World, the Perusian Pantheon approached us and said if we were willing to protect their artifacts, they would entrust it to us every 100 years. And he gives a smile. It started in the 1st century, the 100th year of the Third Age, and we've had these tournaments ever since. Pirates have met up here every century to have fun, watch the fights, discuss matters with each other in a safe place where we don't have to worry about the hangman's noose or pirate hunters, cannonade and cutlass. And the gods saw fit to entrust us with such an honor. guard their artifacts and ensure that they don't fall into the wrong hands.
Do you know what the spear can do?
He kind of gives you a small tilt of the head. You can see like he's kind of debating whether to tell you or not. And Vaven, I'm going to ask you to make something resembling a persuasion check. All you have to do, I got you. All you have to do here is roll a d20 and just tell me what you roll, and I'll fill in the gaps.
12.
He kind of considers for a moment, and you can see him kind of look to the right, look to the left, look up and down the hallways before he turns and actually stops walking completely, and Nitro kind of crosses his arms behind his back, and you can see the human boy next to the two of you kind of leans forward excitedly as he leans forward. And you want to know the secret? The spear does nothing. It is just an ordinary spear. A decorative and lavish one, to be sure, but just a spear.
Wow. I'm suddenly disappointed in this Ares.
Actually, like, belonging to Ares and it just doesn't do anything?
Roll me a persuasion check. Again, d20, I'll fill in the gaps.
Oh, 14.
Or is it...
Hang on, I gotta pull your character sheet up real quick. And go ahead, Vaven, while I'm pulling that up.
Is it one of those things where he's like,
Oh my god.
I'm the god of war, I don't need no special spear?
He kind of gives a smile, and that's a secret I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to share, but as far as I'm aware, the spear possesses no unnatural traits or abilities. Understand, they entrusted us with a high honor, but a weapon like that is something that they likely would not freely share with pirates. We are still flying the black flag after all. But it is still the personal property of Ares and acts as his symbol. As a result, he sees fit to trust us with it. Understand, the people in this tournament typically aren't seeking a powerful weapon. Most who know Ares know that that is not the God of War's style.
Mm-hmm.
It's the prestige, understand? A once-in-a-lifetime tournament where you could potentially live a life of luxury while laying claim to an artifact of the gods. Powerful or not, it could be a stick. And I still fully believe people would come flocking to Plundan for a chance to win it.
And yet you hold a tournament where someone can just walk off with it if they win. Or are they required to keep it here?
He gives you a smile, and it's a funny thing, isn't it? They're not required to stay, but most choose to. You didn't see the inside of the champion's room, but we allow the champion to live on Plundan in a life of luxury. They don't have to work a day in their lives. They're tended to by the crew. Between the honor and prestige and the lavish living conditions, I have not yet heard of someone simply taking the spear and walking away.
Sorry, kind of makes that this is awkward face.
Now, it seems like you managed to find a champion who could actually live long enough to repeat.
He gives a smile, and indeed, we got rather lucky with that fella. He's a fine fighter, and an honorable one.
Can you tell us anything about him?
He gives you a smirk and another wink, which he seems to really enjoy doing. And is this information for the tournament or just curiosity?
Why not both?
I was going to say a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I am very interested, and I am somewhat of a historian, so it's fascinating.
He gives a smile, and After a little bit of consideration, he kind of tilts his head side to side, kind of weighing his options before nodding and looking forward as he continues to walk. You guys kind of jogging to keep up with him as he's a fairly fast little guy. And as he goes along, he starts talking again. His life has been a rather difficult one, you understand. One does not become the champion of Plundan without some sort of story leading them here. At least that's what I've found. Tamatwa, as I've been told, is something of royalty, or at the very least was at one point. But, and he looks to you, Avaben, I believe you know just as well as I how difficult life can be for certain dark elves.
Unfortunately.
He gives a nod and continues walking. His own sisters took the throne from him and banished him from his home. He wandered the world, learning how to fight from the best adventurers and warriors in the world, before returning and taking back what was his. But when he had his sisters at his mercy, and all of those who had told him that he would amount to nothing, he simply made it clear that the royalty and titles and prestige it brought were his to hold, and then walked away. That's when he came to us. The royalty and nobility no longer concerned him. At this point, he was seeking to learn how to better his fighting for no other reason than he wanted to be one of the best fighters in the world. He has something to prove and nothing to lose, which is what makes him such a fine champion. He's been here with us for near 300 years now. He fought in many of our tournaments before now, and most expect that he will maintain his ownership of the spear.
Was he a champion for 300 years, or was he just in it for that time and only recently became the champion?
He smirks again, and when he first came to us during the 3rd Septennial Doomspell Tournament, he won the championship from its previous holder, and has maintained it ever since. No one has even managed to come close to a victory over him, let alone actually succeed in taking it. But who knows? And he gives you a wink over his shoulder. I don't know if you saw it, but the transformations of my powder have him just as confused as everyone else. Perhaps this is just the sort of shake-up we need to see someone else take the belt. Or the spear, at any rate.
Wait, you're telling me that the one before him also was a species that could live long enough to defend?
Oh no, during the 1st, 2nd, and initially 3rd Doomspell tournaments, we simply had rotating champions, but after he took it and was able to hold it, he became something of a symbol for Plundan. People come here not just to see the fights, they come here to see him.
I have a feeling that even if he did lose it, he would probably be back.
I don't doubt that. He's always looking for a way to... And he kind of thinks over his wording for a second. Improve himself. His aspiration is that he will someday become the best fighter in the world, which is part of the reason he stays here and flies the black flag. He's hoping that this tournament will attract all manner of powerful opponents that he can prove his mettle against. In truth, I don't know what he hopes to do whenever he does prove his quest to be succeeded.
How do you even measure that? You can't possibly fight every potential candidate.
He smiles and, well, because of the way this tournament works, he'll end up fighting his fair share of fighters, to be sure, but those that make it to the championship means that they did better than everyone else, at the very least. So, every 100 years, he gets a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to test his might against some of the best fighters the world has to offer. And in the meantime, between tournaments, he simply practices, trains, learns how to use that spear and all of his other skills to the best of his ability.
Is he going? Is he reserved for the final fight, or does he do tournament like everybody else?
He does the tournament like everyone else, but he's never lost a round.
Well, we'll see if that trend continues now that he's got some different circumstances.
Very true.
You can't exactly train for something like this.
Very true. And he kind of tilts his head to the side and kind of glances to Nitro before nodding as he continues to walk. At this point, you guys are passing the major league locker rooms and about to pass the championship room, which will then take you to his office. So as your walk is slowly coming to an end, he kind of nods to himself and understand. I want this Doomspell tournament to be unforgettable. The captains who oversaw the last tournaments have been memorialized in history, to be sure, but they will someday be forgotten. They are pirates, after all. Only the best pirates tend to be remembered by history. I want this to be a tournament that's unforgettable, unique. Even if my idea proves to be foolhardy and it is simply remembered as a foolish experiment that made things more complicated than they truly needed to be, I'll at least know fondly that I did something no one else had done before, and that I won't soon be forgotten.
Well, from the sound of things, there's more than an outside chance it'll be remembered as the.
We can only hope. At this point, you arrive at his office, and he gives a bow, and it's been good talking with you three. Nitro, would you see them back to the locker rooms, please? Aye, Captain. And he gives the three of you another bow, and if you have any questions or simply want to talk, my door's always open to you. And with that, he has Nitro start taking the three of you away from his office and toward the locker rooms.
As we're walking, I'm going to look back to the child and just kind of assess him if I can.
Okay. And real quick, Evasion, what were you going to do?
Yeah, Evasion was going to ask, so, who are you? To the kid.
Okay, so yeah, the two of you just look to him.
I wouldn't have taken your benefactor. Higher.
Yeah. Just as a heads up, I was able to get the gist of it. Don't worry, but your mic is being a little stuttery. But again, I got the gist of it. Don't worry. He kind of seems a little surprised when the two of you both turn to look at him and address him. Asari just kind of silently looking up and down, and Avaben addressing him directly. And to you, Avaben, he kind of clears his throat as you start following Nitro toward the minor league locker rooms, which you do recall seeing this kid occasionally in the locker room. Nobody stopped to like talk to him. He kind of clears his throat and hi. You're the Divine Five, right?
Yeah, that would be us.
That's so cool. I'm the Swarm Storm.
Okay, have I heard of him?
Make a history check. This is again D20, and I will fill in the gaps.
Ooh, 14.
Yep. You are confident that that name is made up and completely meaningless. And given his outfit and the fact that he addressed you as the Divine Five, it seems like he's using the nicknames you guys are having as fighters rather than his actual name.
And are you really gonna fight by yourself?
Oh,
I don't mean that in the derogatory sense. I hope you don't misunderstand me. I just... You're young.
Don't worry, miss. I'm a lot stronger than I look, and I'm not fighting by myself.
Well, that's a relief.
I I actually used to be a powder monkey on Brother Ares' crew, but we do a lot of exploring and looking around and stuff. He likes to get his hands on interesting treasures. You know, he doesn't want to just steal from random people. You know, so we do a lot of exploring. And see, we went to this island where this sorcerer was. And I wasn't supposed to go with him. He said I was supposed to stay on the ship, but I didn't want him to go by himself because his kid's always been his kid and I've always been really good friends. So I went with him, and I ended up falling into something that I wasn't supposed to. And after they fished me out, I could do things I couldn't do before.
And you just did that thing, huh?
What's that?
I mean, did you like, and she kind of like gestures. Did you do like anything on that adventure?
Oh, yeah. I discovered what I could do, and I helped make sure the crew could escape. I did end up wrecking one of the longboats and ended up damaging the ship a little bit, but the captain said it was okay, and that he was just glad that I was safe, because he doesn't want anything bad to happen to me. He tries to make sure the powder monkeys stay safe and aren't in the line of fire. Everyone thought that his kid was just going to be a powder monkey, but he just ended up being the cabin boy, sort of. His boyfriend ended up being the sharpshooter up in the crow's nest. I don't know how he stays up there all day. It's super hot outside sometimes. And with his dark hair and clothes, he must be sweating buckets up there. Not to mention, I'm not really a big fan of heights myself. I mean, I've gotten better at it since I figured out what I could do, but I'm still working on it. Sometimes I get up really high on the ship and I get a little bit woozy and I have to go lie down for a little bit. It's just something you kind of get used to over time, sailing on the high seas and all that. Hi.
Hello.
He had an entire crew and he just sent one person.
Yeah, it's very strange.
He said that I was the only one he would need. I'm one of the strongest on the crew.
So you are fighting by yourself.
That's interesting.
Like I said, I'm not fighting by myself. Just it's I can't do it right now because of that powder stuff. But whenever they call me the Swarm Storm, because whenever I'm operating on normal circumstances, I can summon spiders.
Spiders! Oh wow. You spiders.
Yeah, the name was my idea because I was like, it's like a storm of bugs, and it's they say a group of bugs is a swarm, so I was like, the Swarm Storm, that has a nice ring to it. And Captain Merrick really liked it, so he said that I could use it, and I actually made my outfit myself. And he kind of pulls at the pajama jacket. I made it out of spider silk. It's nearly bulletproof.
It's gonna be interesting to see how your ability translates.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do some practice, like Captain Merrick said. I'm probably going to try and use the arena. I need a lot of room for my ability to work. I'm not really good in tight spaces,
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't have told you that, should I? We're technically competing, aren't we? I've seen you guys in the locker room. Your big guy, the guy in the suit and the armor, he cleaned up my bed area because I tend to make a little bit of a mess whenever I sleep. Silk goes everywhere and spiders tend to climb up on me. But he was super nice, and he, whenever I told him that the cobwebs are my friends and that I didn't want him getting rid of them, he decided to let me keep them. But he just made sure that it was nice and clean for him because spiders don't like it being dirty either. Everyone thinks they're real dirty animals, but they actually really like being clean. It's a lot like rats in that way. Hi.
Okay.
You don't like tight spaces, but you work on a ship.
Ship isn't as tight quarters, especially something as big as Brother Ares is. And I usually work up in the rigging whenever we're not fighting. Like I said, I have a bit of an issue with heights, but I'm good with rope, especially ever since I got my new abilities.
Do you know your knots?
What's that?
Do you know your knots?
I know that and he kind of like puts his fingers together, like he's trying to like fill in the gaps, and oh yeah. Yes. The stitches. He told me about this special knot. And he like kind of does like a mime of pulling rope. And just like. Yeah, he calls it the boop loop. And it makes it to where it stays nice and tight, but whenever you need to pull it in just the right way, it comes undone at the flick of a wrist. Makes it real convenient getting the sails done up and all that.
I've heard of that one. It's a very, very scientific name, Boop Loop.
Is it? I didn't think it was superficial. I thought it was just something he made up, but it's good to know. I've heard that you're a doctor, so you definitely know what you're talking about. You must be really smart.
I'd like to think I'm very smart.
And it's super cool to see a dark elf. I haven't heard good things about dark elves, but you seem really nice. I mean, I know you're not a dark elf right now, but it's what you are on the inside that actually counts, and especially the fact that you're a guy dark elf. I know it's not. I know it's probably really hard for you, so just you have my sympathies, but it's really nice to meet you. You seem like you're going to be a good fighter. That bow on your back, I think I heard that you were a sharpshooter, right? That's what everyone's saying anyway, that you shoot your arrows from a distance. So I bet if I sent a bunch of spiders to attack you on the back line, that would probably complicate things. But I can see you got some swords there too. Are you good with those?
I'm fairly good with those, and I do have other.
Do you get to
trump cards.
socialize normally?
Oh yeah, I get to socialize all the time. Like I said, I'm good friends with the captain's son.
Hopefully he likes spiders.
He doesn't, but I can control it, kinda.
That's very comforting, but it should be interesting to see how you do with this new set of rules.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to figure out if I even can still do it. That's gonna be hard, going in by myself if I don't have my abilities. But the captain says that he believes in me, so I'm gonna do my absolute best. Oh, check this out! And he pulls one of the gloves off of his uniform, and you can see that his hands and fingers are covered in these thick, spiky-looking hairs. And he holds his palm out to you, and you see it helps me climb up walls and stuff.
Do you mind?
Oh yeah, totally fine. Go for it.
Can I
Be careful, kid. You don't want to see what happened to the last person that led.
I'm not going to hurt him. I'm just going to look at his hand.
Wait. Should I be expecting her to hurt me? Is this sabotage? Is this the sabotage that Captain Merrick was talking about?
No, sweetheart. I'm not going to hurt you. I promise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she nearly broke this guy's arm trying to heal his
that was
already broken arm.
Circumstantial, and it was also an accident.
He kind of looks a little nervous, but he does hold out his...
They were a big, tall dragon at that point, so it might be different now that they're a short, little, tiny dwarf.
Fucking short. Oh.
Hey, you say that dwarves can lift up to 5 times their weight, and that's just on a bad day.
I believe spiders can do the same thing.
No, you're thinking of ants. Although it's a very understandable, and he's still holding out his palm to you. Sorry, but now he's just babbling to Avaben.
I'm gonna check him out, see what's going on there.
Roll me a d20.
Okie doke. Ooh, 13. It was almost a natural 20.
Okay. Looking over his palm as he continues to explain to Avaben the differences between ants and spiders. Well, interestingly, spiders aren't even insects at all. Like, in fact, I would say that spiders and ants are about as closely related as you are to a fish. And he's like just babbling to Avaben as you're investigating his palms. And I don't believe there is now.
Yeah, I'm just gonna note that she is very delicate and very gentle, as she can be.
As you delicately examine his fingers and palm, the hairs have this kind of sticky texture to them, and it actually kind of hurts to like press your hand against them. Like they're really rough and spiky, and like almost itchy to touch. but also whenever you make contact with them, they're like sticky, and it actually is like you actually worry that some of the hairs are going to come out on you
Do they remind me of like if I were to like put like a spider under a microscope?
Yes, yes, I will say, yeah, you are confident that these growths he has are basically magnified versions of that of a spider. Given the story he told, you come to the conclusion that it's likely what happened was he went to a magic-rich area with Brother Ares, fell into a mana pool, and got spider mutations.
He's Spider-Man. I love it. Okay.
Spider Boy.
I'll just kind of pat his hand. You should have named yourself Spider-Man. It's just very cool.
Oh, I actually did want to do that, but Captain Merrick said, "Well, you're not a man, you're a boy." And I was like, "Well, how about Spider Boy then?" And he's like, "Oh, Spider Boy's not intimidating." And then that's when I came up with the Swarm Storm, because I'm gonna storm them with swarms. I already told you that already.
Yes,
Hi.
Yes. I understand.
I'm just gonna be like, "Can you brush them off like a tarantula?"
I can't brush him off, but I can do this. And he flicks his wrist, and you watch as the hairs that you were just examining on his fingers, stick into the wall of the ship. And from the looks of it, they actually stab in a little bit.
Oh, that's cool.
I figured a baby would know about spiders being a dark elf.
Yeah, given the city you came from, yeah, you know your way around spiders.
So you don't brush them off, you can just throw them.
I can brush them off, but it gets all over my clothes, and it's really hard to get out of them. I remember once I got some of the hairs on Brother Ares' scarf, and he really likes that scarf. It's super important to him, and he was real upset with me about that. I mean, he was like, "Oh, it's not your fault. You're understanding how your powers work. It's not a big deal." But it was one of those things where I feel like he wasn't mad. He was just disappointed, And not to mention, I had to swab the deck for a while afterwards. That was a pain.
What's with the
getting
scarf?
those hairs all over the deck.
It's not that bad. I don't shed. At least not all the time. I used to whenever I first got it, but I've learned to control it.
Kind of.
What were you saying? And he points to, sorry.
Oh, what's with the scarf thing? You said it's very important to him?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, you see, how it works is the Brethren of the Coast, each one has these like cool little things they have, like a unique item, and it basically is like, oh, like this is to say that I am that member of the Brethren of the Coast. That way they can tell each other apart, even whenever, one guy might get shot, and then the guy takes his thing, and then the other guy gets shot, and then that guy takes it. So it's so they can tell each other apart, even whenever it's different people having the title. So, if one of you was to like sneak on board the ship, kill Brother Ares, and take his scarf, everyone would answer to you as the new Brother Ares. I probably shouldn't have told you that.
No, it's all right.
We don't have any ambitions to be pirate lords or whatever the hell the term is.
I certainly do not. My mum would not approve of me being a pirate at all. In fact, I'm pretty sure she would have a heart attack just knowing I was on this ship.
He gives a smile, and at this point, Nitro has gotten you guys back to the minor league locker rooms, and he kind of nervously dances from foot to foot as he nods to you two, and well, I guess we got a night of getting used to this. I mean, I don't have to deal with too much. I'm more just going to see if I can still get spiders to come to me or not. But he smiles, and if you guys need any help, once I figure out if my abilities work, I'd be willing to do some training with you guys if you need. I mean, I know we're enemies and all, and we might end up having to fight each other tomorrow, but if that's the case, then, and he holds out his gloved hand so it won't be sticky. He holds out his gloved hand to the two of you. May the best fighter win!
I'll shake his hand. Yeah, I think we're gonna talk it over with the rest of the team, and perhaps we might make it to the arena ourselves.
Well, I hope I get to see what you guys look like on the battlefield. With a name like the Divine Five, I bet you guys are a sight to see whenever you're fighting.
That's That's the goal, isn't it? Just to put on a good show. Let's
Oh,
try to do
yeah. And Avaven?
Avaven's gonna be like, you said your job was a powder monkey, right?
Why are you
Yes, sir.
crying?
So I guess now that makes you a spider monkey.
Oh, crap, that would have been a much better name than Swarstorm. Ah.
Maybe you can see if the captain will change it for you.
Yeah, I should ask him. Thank you. And he actually goes to immediately run to the captain's office, but Nitro kind of grabs him by the scruff of his pajama collar and, not so fast, lad. You're not supposed to be wandering the ship at night. And he pulls him back. Although you notice Nitro actually has to extend some effort to pull him back, as if so much musculature is fit into this kid that he actually has to strain a bit. And as he pulls the Storm back, he's like, and no, you're not changing the name. And just, dang it. And he kind of, like, more playfully than anything, kind of shoves him into the locker room. And he looks to the two of you once the Storm is in the locker room. And anything I can do for either of you two?
Well, I'm good.
All right. Take
I'm
care.
I'm sure
And
your
don't.
presence is wearing a little bit thin after that encounter.
You get used to people being talkative. Nothing compared to the champion.
Oh,
The
really?
champion is talkative?
Is he a chatty Cathy?
I was concerned that he was a mute out there.
Understand, that's him being all strategic thinking, surveying the competition, figuring out who's his biggest opponent. But whenever he's, just hanging out in his room, lifting weights and practicing with the spear, he's something of a talker, when the mood strikes him, but he'll occasionally strike up conversation with the captain or I.
Just you two, or is he chatty with opponents?
He's chatty with anyone who can listen to his self-aggrandizing long enough.
Is he like on a scale from adorable child to stuck up necromancer from Wicket? Where is he?
He kind of like scratches at his blue neck for a moment, and I'd say Gyogren Colonel.
All right.
That's just specific examples.
Yes, they are.
It's old stories. Nothing you need to worry about.
Yeah, I appreciate that you understand where I was coming from. Avivan, let's go inside and I will help everybody, I think.
All right.
I'll leave y'all to it. I mean, I don't know how much more complicated putting arrow on bow, pulling back and letting go could have gotten.
I suppose.
Paul, Greylog. As the two of you return to the locker room, you find that it's in an uproar, as most of their forms have been completely changed, and those who haven't are now basically having to deal with jealousy and threats of sabotage from those who did, as basically a locker room wide civil war is threatening to break out between those who got their forms changed and those who didn't.
Yeah, fair.
Hopefully they'll shut up in time for me to be able to get some peace for meditation.
The two of you have some time before Asari and Avaben arrive. Is there anything the two of you would like to do?
Yes, actually. They're all in the room with Hennix, right?
Yeah. Some are in the locker room itself, but the two rooms are pretty close to each other anyway.
So I'm just going to sit outside in the locker room for a while because he doesn't want to go into that mess. And he wants to rifle through some of the stuff as discreetly as he can.
Okay.
What's he doing?
He's going through the other fighters' shit while they're occupied.
Distracted.
What's
Man,
your
I'm
fucking
glad
alignment?
Avaven asked that question earlier.
Oh wait, he.
What's your alignment?
Well,
You
He
don't know
can't do
that yet.
Yeah, I don't know my alignment.
It says it on his character sheet.
No, he basically back in first edition, some classes had to be certain alignments. But yeah, he doesn't know that yet. Roll me a d20.
Way to go, Jenner. What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it?
That is a 16.
Nice.
Yeah, are bigger numbers good on checks?
Generally, no, actually.
Oh, so you want smaller numbers for checks?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Greylog,
Man,
you
Not
now.
good dice. Bad dice.
Oh my God, they're high rolling dice.
Yeah, their
them in the
I knew that going into first edition that their dice were going to backfire on them here.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna bring out my dice jail dice.
Yeah.
Now they're gonna watch
Now, Greylog.
dice start rolling high.
Greylog, this is
You may
important.
touch these.
What is your motivation for doing this? Like, explain to me your thought process.
Okay,
Just for
so
personal gain.
he's not stealing. He's just looking to see what people have, what he's going up against. He's not taking anything. He's just looking.
Now, what is your end goal? Like, basically, how do you think this changes the situation?
Well, since he'll know what he's going to go up against, he can counter whatever it is. Like if he's going up against a long range opponent, he'll know.
So,
okay,
so you're giving yourself an advantage.
pretty much, yes.
Okay. You start trying to rifle through Paul, you see Greylog start to rifle through the backpack that you had seen shifting before those orbs came out of it. But Greylog, as you start doing that, those same orbs roll out and start kind of like ramming into your shins painfully, and you hear them all of them start chanting, "Hey, hey, 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 hey!"
I love them. What are they?
Hey,
Back off!
sorry, I was mostly just curious.
Back off!
Okay.
Are the orbs talking?
Yeah, you just hear voices coming from them.
Do I know what they are?
Why
Roll a
did we
d20.
change?
Roll a d20.
Is that the dice? Here, try this one.
It's a 17.
You have no idea.
Notoriously bad.
You have no idea. The orbs are just talking.
I'm broken her cursed dice.
It's 20 on my first day. Fuck!
We ain't touching your stuff. We ain't messing with your body. Stay out of it. Back off.
Okay. And he will go sit down on the opposite side of the locker room.
The orbs promptly roll back into their backpack, and one of them hops up to essentially spin and roll to pull the lip of the backpack shut. It seems like they're just hiding out in there to avoid the fucking fighting in the locker room.
Orbs.
I am curious as to what the fuck they are.
I'm walking here.
Paul, anything from you?
I guess after a while he'll check another bag.
Paul, anything from you?
Well, the thing is, I called my on the show. Is it possible to talk to him again?
Well, yeah, so you already summoned him on to Plundan, right?
Yeah, I summoned him like before.
Yeah, you were riding him earlier. So yeah. The steed's already with you. Taking up a lot of room in the fucking locker room, but with you nonetheless.
Sure, that went over swimmingly, bringing in a large animal into the fucking locker room.
Yeah, you guys aren't exactly popular with those who have to sleep next to you. You're starting to suspect that the other fighters start drawing straws to see who has to take the hammocks next to you guys.
I mean, to be fair, Vapin and Greylog didn't haven't done anything in a couple days.
Greylog set a fire that made it hard for them to sleep, and the first thing you said to any of them was, "If any of you touch my stuff, I'll kill you."
But you threatened him.
But we haven't done anything since then.
Friend.
It's only been a week.
I've
And,
tried
like,
to be friendly.
Greylog stopped, like in Greylog's offense, he stopped putting the fire thing out.
I acknowledge that, but the previous offense still stands. Like, you can't just be like, "Well, I haven't done anything to you in a few days."
Shit, I do
I'm gonna
that all
put
the
these
time.
on natural ones to manifest.
But Paul is just going to kind of, seeing as it's been a long, kind of interesting night, he's going to just make sure he's going to get ready for bed.
All right.
What tomorrow has to offer is tomorrow's problem.
All right. At this point, Asari and Avaben, the two of you return. Asari, as you and Avaben enter, you see Paul heading into the locker room, which is currently in chaos, and Greylog immediately stoops over one of the bags to start trying to rifle through it.
Can I go over to him?
Yeah.
And just, he's much taller than I am now, so I'll look up at him. And what are you doing?
Oh, this is not my bag.
Oh, don't try that, love. I've known you way too long for that to work. You realize that you could get in a lot of trouble even just by looking.
It's not in the contract, actually.
It's not about the contract, love.
Avaben, as they're arguing, you can see the orbs like unfurl the lip of the backpack and start kind of staring out at the two of them, and you can hear them kind of muttering to each other.
Ben is just looking at this chaos in here and just says to himself, God, I have
Now-
to shut up in time for me to get some meditation in.
Need you to just come over here with the rest of us, and I'll tell you what I know.
Okay. And then the guy that's going to be shutting the door, I can't remember his name.
Nitro.
Everyone's supposed to be in this room, correct?
Yes. Or rather, since it's addressed to Nitro. He kind of looks over a little confused as he was about to start locking up for the night, and aye?
What about those little orb people in that backpack over
They're in the
there?
room.
No, not. They're in the locker room. Completely different.
The locker room's what gets locked up, lad. They're allowed to sleep where they like.
Oh, man, I could have been out there this entire time. More space.
Have you ever slept in a locker room?
Have you seen what's going on in there?
Have you seen a locker room?
Yes.
You're in one now.
Yeah, you're in one.
At least these have hammocks.
Oh, well.
Greylog.
You got to look up to me now.
All I see is an ass.
A nice
Literally,
one.
all I see is ass.
It's a nice one, at least.
One of the orbs from the backpack pipes up. To be fair, love, I don't think that would change no matter how tall you were.
No, that's true. That's absolutely fair. Good point.
Great, they got a sense of humor.
Also,
What, those
Matthew.
things? Do I
Yeah.
know what they are?
Roll a d20 and Avaben.
Do elves still do the meditation thing in first
Yes.
edition?
Nope.
Yeah.
So
I
he'll still have like
absolutely
his
have
higher
no
awareness.
fucking
and all that?
idea.
Yeah, no
You
worries.
know
You're
what,
good.
Matthew? I don't even know who I am. I rolled a fucking natural 20. Okay? I don't even know who I am.
Sorry, you have no idea. The orbs are just talking.
They're just, it's.
They're talking balls. Where's the bat? Batter's up.
Very funny.
Baby.
We'll see. We'll see if you're still making jokes whenever you fight us on the battlefield, big guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you might want to stop trash talking and stop worrying about how we're gonna fight.
Well,
No.
this-
Come on, big guy's got jokes. Let's hear some more.
Wow, that's a
Great.
nice toy.
God, these guys are literally like that penguin meme in VR chat. I'm walking here.
I'm walking in.
Or I guess in that case, I'm rolling here.
Yeah, I'm rolling here.
All right.
Also, I just lost a
Is
dice.
everybody present?
Yes, Flower and Fall and Paul are currently in their hammocks. Avaben is going down for his meditation, and Greylog, assuming you accompany Asari, you will be in the chaotic sleeping area as well.
Yeah.
All right. How can I like help Asari deduce what's going on?
I will call this a history-based intelligence roll, which will still just be a d20.
Please. The one time I won a natural one in my entire life. No, it's not good. I rolled like
Great.
Your
We're all
great
fucked.
dice have come
Guys,
back to
what is
bite
going
you.
on?
Yeah.
These are the curse dice. What is happening?
Yeah, that's for curse.
You guys couldn't
Well,
stop. You
yeah,
guys
for
literally
months.
can't stop rolling well, even if it kills you.
Well,
Asari,
it just might.
Asari, you rack your brain. But this history is so specific and outdated and ancient that it is sadly beyond your realm of knowledge. You're familiar with the story that Imamu said and the historical figures associated with it, but you're an archaeologist. You're not like a combat tactician. You don't know the details of how they fought or
Part
how
of your
they're...
speciality.
Like the one thing I'm supposed to be good at, and I can't even fucking do it.
It's okay. You're okay. So you do not know like how this works. However, you still have a night and a day. You can experiment.
Yeah. I just think some sleep is needed.
She tried to think if she got a brain freeze. After effects of
Yeah. To be fair, you just got transformed into a dwarf. Like you got a lot going on right now. It could also just be that you're so distracted, and you're also in the middle of a locker room where everyone's fucking brawling at this point. So
Yeah.
I'll try and
maybe
get
it's
it in the
just the
morning.
thing about dwarves, you know. I mean, who's ever heard of an archaeologist dwarf?
that'd be ridiculous.
I know dwarves are big since the ground. What a concept.
Does anyone have anything noteworthy they want to do over the long rest or beforehand?
There's one more thing I want to do.
Okay, so Greylog, sorry?
Oh, I was just saying I'm gonna cry.
Alright, Avaben?
I was just gonna say how to character. I mean, this is advanced D&D, so it wouldn't surprise me if some races were just dumber than others.
I mean, it's D&D in general, that's the case.
Yeah, but especially advanced D&D, you know. Back in those days, they had certain ideas of how people were.
Yeah, luckily that is not at all the case now.
Oh, it's still the case, just a little bit not as bad.
Paul?
Guess make sure he'll just kind of like after he kind of sets up his make sure that he equipment ready to go for it. I should probably he'll have all his equipment ready to go for tomorrow. Like just kind of clean it.
Okay. And as you guys are all making your preparations, the twins actually pipe up from the top bunk. We've made a discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
Oh.
And Fall pipes up. We're not dwarves. We're gnomes.
Oh.
That's about all we got so far.
How do you
And
how do you figure?
And they point to you. Well, we're smaller than you, so we can't be dwarves unless you're just like a really big dwarf.
I could just be a very big dwarf. I mean, I was ginormous.
They kind of look to each other and look back to you. We'll keep working on it.
They're adorable.
All right.
Let's focus on what you can do to beat the crap out of whoever we get put up against.
I just want to focus on my my studies and everything that I know, and just try really hard to remember what I learned in school.
All right.
I found the dice I lost.
Awesome. Asari, you just nursing a headache, settle into the middle bunk to try and get your grip on just through all the brawling and stress, try and remember what you had studied about the Dragon Crusades, and remember how those people fought, how their magic worked, anything that can help give you guys an edge in the fight. Paul, keeping your mind on the practical, you polish your blade, ensure your steed is fed, and ready yourself for what tomorrow may bring. Avaben, you go down on the bottom bunk for an uneasy and fitful meditation, less due to stress from the situation and more just everyone's fucking noisy arguing and brawling. And
Avaben's just going to say, and they complained about us.
And Paul, as you settle into the top bunk, the twins still just instinctively sharing the bunk with you. It now feels less like you just have two tiny things on your chest, and more like these two moderately sized gnomes just cuddling up on you as if nothing's changed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Greylog, as your party settles in for their rests, what would you like to do?
So, looking at all the chaos around me, I want to look and see if I can tell who, based on their position, turned into who.
Roll a d20.
Yeah,
And real quick,
20.
good,
Paul. Right? Natural 20s are good.
Paul, what were you saying earlier, by the way? I just heard you saying something after I mentioned what Flower and Fall were doing.
I told you those dice were cursed.
To curse, but yeah, they give you what you wanted, or what
This
you
one
normally
is
want.
this one is very faithful.
I think I mentioned he's like he's fine with it. Yeah, he's okay with this.
Yeah. Greylog?
3.
Looking around, you're able to get a decent grip on who's who. From the looks of it, the 7 samurai are completely unchanged, at least as far as you can tell. You don't know all of them, but you can still make them out. They appear unchanged. The orcs who were in this team have seemingly just vanished. So you assume that they are the ones instigating the fight. As you can see, a group of people who you don't recognize, shouting at those who got to keep their forms, and they feel like they have an unfair advantage. While those on the human side point out that while they kept the same race and abilities, they still have no fucking idea how to use their abilities or magic anymore. Looking around, you're able to recognize a decent number of them. While you don't know most of them by name, obviously, the ones you can see that are unchanged are the vampires, the two groups of the three groups of humans that you've seen, and one of the human fighters who you recognize. Other than that, everyone. Oh, and of course, the Swarm Storm, who's just kind of like setting up a bed in the corner, like trying to stay out of the fighting.
So the vampires didn't.
At least not as far as you can tell.
Well, are they still buried in the dirt?
Yes.
Did vampires exist in advanced D&D?
Who knows?
They must have.
That or
Okay.
they could be used to the dirt feeling, so there's.
Yeah, like they already filled their beds up with it.
They're probably just keeping the habit because they know this ain't gonna last forever.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just gonna go down for a rest. And
Okay.
he is an elf now, right?
Yes.
So he knows he only needs 4 hours of sleep. Like I would think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he's just gonna take the 4 hours.
All right. Well, I'll say, do you have anything like noteworthy you want to do, like that you have to do before everyone else, or are you just gonna long rest and then like have to do some stuff in the morning like everyone else?
He's just gonna do stuff in the morning like everyone else. He's just
Okay.
as soon as that door's unlocked, he's out.
Okay. All right. Eventually, thankfully, the brawling starts to subside. You have no idea who won, if anyone, but the arguments and fighting finally just give way to the desperation to sleep. And hopefully, some are under the impression like, oh, it's just a bad dream and we'll wake up. Others are just trying to make peace with things and, with any luck, be in a comfortable position by the time the morning comes. As
Yeah, at that point, Abaven finally gets his long rest. He just says, "Finally, they shut the fuck up."
you all get a long rest, and the night passes without incident, as far as you know. As you all awaken in your hammocks, you look, you're still in your new forms, still operating on unfamiliar rules. And Greylog, you kind of stand, kind of dust yourself off. It was an interesting experience going an entire night without sleeping but still feeling rested. The meditation just helped you get your thoughts in order. And roll me a d20, Greylog, if you don't mind.
Rip Greylog.
Mhm. We'll come back to you. You all awaken. The minor
Sorry.
league.
I didn't realize I was muted.
What'd
7.
7. Just enough.
It was almost a 17.
Yeah, you just got what you needed. Greylog, as you meditated, you're just kind of, you're not really sure what to think about. You're not really the type to do this sort of thing. So you just kind of take the time to reflect on the day and the situation. And a thought occurs to you. You turn your mind to Asari, your close friend, and how stressed out she is about trying to help you guys get through this tournament in one piece. So you decide to at least try and do your part and think about the situation you're in. And your blood runs cold when you realize you've heard stories that casters like you, druids, those who are in tune with nature, the ancient druidic circles speak of the ancient druids of the early Third Age, who were so intense about neutrality and the balance of nature that they adamantly refuse to ever take a side and ever do anything to a specific advantage unless it was specifically to restore balance. And you hadn't thought about it, simply just doing what came to you instinctually, but you realize that if what Imamu said is true and you are now bound by the rules that the first druids were bound by, druids in your day and age are allowed to take sides because nature is being pushed back against by humanity. The world is fighting against nature, so nature is allowed to fight them in turn. But back in the early Third Age, when the two lived in better harmony, neutrality wasn't just expected, it was required. And your blood runs cold when you realize that by trying to get an unfair advantage over the other team, you may have just destroyed your own magic. Greylog, you are now a level 1 commoner.
Oh!
Oh boy.
What did I fucking say?
Yeah, but he didn't know.
Yeah, he didn't know. It's not his fault.
Gil loses
I'm
his
sorry,
name.
specifically said, wait for me.
Yeah, okay, I will say, yeah, to be fair, he did say wait for me, but both sides have a point. And Greylog, you're left with that potential. You're not sure yet, but you suspect it as the rest of the party begins to wake up from their long rest and the rest of the locker room starts to become a kind of quiet flutter of activity.
Oh boy.
As Vaven gets up, he's just gonna be like, is just saying, well, let's see if the fights restart anew.
I think that we should go to the arena and try to figure out everything. And of course, we can always go get some weapons from.
Well, I think I fucked myself up last night. I don't think I have my magic anymore.
How did you lose your magic? How do you lose
was-
something like that?
I was looking. He's going to say this very quietly. I was looking at other people's bags, trying to get a small advantage. You know, I wasn't going to take anything. I was just looking.
He said
As it's not as innocent as you think. It's really not good to look at other people's things.
Yeah, and now I'm fairly sure my magic doesn't work.
I don't understand.
I'm gonna rack my brain one more time. Can I try one
just
more
gonna
time?
keep beating their head against this wall until
I-
they get
No, actually, no. I'll allow him one last chance. I'll allow him one last chance to do it. Go ahead,
You
Asari.
gave him that flavor.
Well, not only that, but also, like, it's the next day, and this is their last chance before the fight, so I'm willing to allow it. It's not a big deal.
She got a
think,
6.
is that a 6 or a 9? I
That's
can't tell.
6.
Okay.
It should have a line somewheres.
I can
Yeah.
never tell. I can never tell because like this one has a line on both ones, and I can never tell which.
Well, so it's either a 6 or a 9, right?
Yeah.
So either way, that would be enough. So you're fine either
Okay.
way. Your intelligence is high, so you have a pretty good grip on things. So are you just trying to do the same thing you did last night, like
Just try to remember everything and just like see if I can come up with anything that would give us the correct information. Not like necessarily give us an advantage, but at least just give us the right information.
All right, Asari. Now that you've had some sleep and you're well rested, and the locker room is again a flutter of activity, but otherwise like fairly quiet, you are able to recall some of the information. By your best judgment, the twins and Avaben should be fine. While Avaben may not have the nature magic that rangers are known for anymore, and obviously you're pretty certain that he can't cast the spells that he could once cast as a dark elf, you're still confident that his archery should be unchanged. Although you do recall that early Third Age bows were a lot harder to use because they were a lot heavier draw weights. So the only thing you can think of for Avaben is that you might want to let Avaben know to either go for a short bow or make sure he's strong enough to use a long bow. Because, again, early Third Age longbows were very, very heavy.
Gotcha.
For the twins, you're confident they'll be fine. They're small, like they're still a twin mind, and as far as you can tell, their fighting style doesn't really. The only thing you can think of is the fact that they won't be able to use their pistols, but at the end of the day, they have an axe and a sword. You suspect they'll be all right.
Okay.
As for yourself, you recall that the first clerics, their knowledge of the divine was a lot more scattered. The gods were only just getting established with their new pantheons, and as a result, the pantheons and the gods were not as widely known or understood. The first clerics, ironically worked on less rules because they simply didn't know any better. So as far as you know, there's nothing you can think of that you have to worry about in terms of like missteps you could make. The thing that does concern you, though, is that in this day and age, the gods bestowed magic on their clerics seemingly at random, because, again, the clerics didn't know them well enough to ask them for favors. So it is completely out of your control at this point what magic you can do. It'll simply come down to experimentation to figure out what spells you do or don't know.
Okay.
The two that concern you the most are Paul and Greylog. Greylog, as he pointed out, as I mentioned to Greylog, you would know that the first druids, neutrality was an expectation. Druids were not allowed to act for personal gain or do anything that wasn't just enforcing balance or being neutral. They weren't allowed to make decisions that would define actions. Their only expectation was defend yourself, defend nature, and keep balance. And you do suspect Greylog may be right, that in seeking an unfair advantage over the other teams, he may have just lost the respect of the nature spirits and thus no longer be able to cast spells.
Yeah.
Paul, by far, you're the most concerned about.
Yeah.
You see, the paladins of the Dragon Crusades were the leaders of the Crusades. While they would lead armies of druids and fighters and rangers and wizards and clerics, there was only ever one paladin, 13 in total. And those paladins went on to establish the Knight Orders of the world, such as the Ordo Draconis or the Ordo Christus. And you know that those paladins had a very, very strict code of honor that they insisted on following. If Paul wants to keep his power, he has to be good. He can't do anything like selfish or evil. He has to make a charitable donation to an organization of his choice at some point today before the fight. And you know that his bonds and discipline are very, very important to him. If Paul does anything that is selfish or evil, does not make a charitable donation at some point, and basically does anything that goes against his sort of personal creed or code, he may lose his paladin abilities, which means you would be going into this fight with only 3 people being able to use their abilities.
Okay. I will give everybody their information. I wrote everything down, so I will go from top to bottom. So she will look at Avaven. So thankfully, there's not really too much of a change for you. But I would suggest, I'm not sure how you are with your strength, but a short bow or a long bow would be within your best interest because the other ones are really heavy.
The longbow is the one that's heavy.
They say
Oh
the
yeah, the
longbow's heavy.
longbow is heavy,
They're
right?
saying
Yeah, the
suggesting a
longbow.
short bow.
So the short bow,
Raven's just
not
like, I
longbow.
don't see what could have changed that significantly. He's gonna do
Well, the
like a
bows are just
test
harder.
pull.
Yeah, they're just.
I think you can do that, right? You could just pull it without an arrow to see if you can pull it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll do like a test pull.
All right. While you're doing that, sorry. Go ahead and continue.
Okay. Look at the twins. Your pistols aren't going to work here. So I would suggest your axe or your sword.
Got
and
it.
Then, Greg. So,
Oh no, I'm fucked.
yeah, you're pretty much fucked. Basically, you're supposed to like defend yourself. Don't do anything that's against the nature spirits. You're expected to be like truly neutral. So like nothing to your advantage, nothing. Just don't do anything. Just
Can I
sit back.
just to see what happens? Can I try to cast a cantrip?
Have cantrip.
Okay.
And
yeah,
then,
cantrips aren't really a thing, but yeah, I'll allow you to attempt to cast a spell. While you're doing that, sorry, continue.
Yeah, and then she'll look at Paul. Bad news for you.
What?
You see, there's really not that much information on your type because there was only like 13 to begin with, and they are very strict. Their order is very strict. You have to be very, very good. By the end of today, before our our fight, you need to make a charitable donation to whatever feels good. And don't go against your own personal creed or code, because that could seriously fuck itself up, like Greg did. So just try. I mean, you're pretty good as it is. I haven't seen you do anything bad. You seem like a pretty good guy. Just try to stay that way.
Well, I don't.
And for me, who knows what's going to happen? Oh boy.
I don't plan on changing, so I don't see
That's
much
good.
issue.
My suggestion is that we go to the arena.
Arena.
Before that, do you guys want to go?
Arena?
Yeah, do you guys
Arena.
That's what I said.
No, you said arena.
Sorry, my accent must have slipped up. Before that, do you guys want to go get weapons?
Well, they're not open for anyone to just come and get. You gotta borrow without permission.
Well, our friends can help us open the door.
Didn't he say that we have access to it?
Yeah, basically he knew that people were raiding it before the round, but yeah, at this point the idea is that, now he didn't say if it was first come first serve or if they would be distributed, but yes, he did say that at this point those weapons are now available for people to use, and they're supposedly relics and artifacts from those crusades that they managed to collect.
So my suggestion is that we go run towards that and get what we can, and then go see what we can do. For me, it's going to be random and weird. Do I know what kind of god I should be praying to?
Given that your original magic came from just your draconic heritage,
right?
You suspect that you most likely are praying to the god of dragons, which would be Bahamut.
Oh, gotcha.
Is he a dragon?
Yes.
But what a time to
anyway.
Draw in a different area. It's that spot of the paper.
It's not that spot of paper.
It's the oil from your skin, love.
And once Asari has passed all that information on, you guys do your various experiments to attempt and see. Vaben, you pull the bow you had taken from Igor and kind of give it an experimental pull. And as Asari predicted, it's heavier than you expect. It does take you a little bit more effort. But basically, instead of like a Legolas style, like whoosh, whoosh, that you're able to usually do, it now is more like you're having to like let loose one.
The more proper longbow.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, I think it's like you have to start low, raise it up, and fire.
Yeah, exactly. But while it's a little heavier than you're used to, you are still strong enough to use a longbow. Barely. If your strength was any lower, you would not be able to.
Well,
Greylog, you're not exactly sure what you should be doing, but you try to go off of instinct. Tuning in to the nature of the wood on the ship, the various pests and bilge rats, and attempt to commune and channel with them with your druidic powers to just a spell, any spell. And nothing happens. Your connection is lost.
better start praying to nature.
Yeah, you.
Well, hopefully this isn't permanent.
Well, just in case it is, you should probably try to get a.
Yeah.
I would look on your sheet and see what you.
Well, if I'm a commoner, it doesn't matter what kind of weapon I use now.
Yeah.
What weapons can a commoner use?
Let me check. I have the monster manual. Let me check.
Just since they don't have any restrictions.
Yeah, but it could be a thing if they can use anything, but they're not particularly good at it.
Isn't like, or is it? I'm not sure. Can clerics use metal? Isn't there a thing like clerics with metal, right?
No, it's druids. But
So,
since he's not a druid anymore, that doesn't matter anyway.
but clerics also had something like they can't use sharp, or they can't use sharp objects.
Yeah, you have to use a bludgeoning weapon, but I don't believe Asari really uses their blade that much anyway. So
I have a quarter staff.
So yeah, you're fine.
That's fine.
All right. In the meantime, while I'm getting all that sorted, do you guys want to go start trying to grab weapons and whatnot, or do you have something else? You guys
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should get.
Paul's probably not gonna do that.
Okay.
I will see if we can't get to our friend. I wrote it down. The guy that I was flirting with.
Justin?
Yeah, Justin. Just kind of go and talk to Justin and his friends and kind of make a deal.
Okay. So Asari, you're going to go talk to some of the other fighters. Paul, what are you planning to do?
I'm gonna explore the ship.
Look at it this way, Greylog. It's a way to defend yourself. It is true neutrality. Not for your advantage. Section.
Avaben, what will you be doing?
I guess he'll try to go to the arena and see and do a test of one of the explosive arrows.
Okay. Vaben's heading to the arena. Paul, did you say what you would be doing?
I said he's gonna just explore.
Okay, so Paul's going to be exploring the ship. Asari's going to be chatting with the other fighters. Greylog?
Waiting for Asari, and then going to get weapons.
All right. So you two will be in the locker room then. Okay.
That's not even that bad. Beyond's good.
Asari, you approach the two members of the Seven Samurai, who they're sporting a few kind of bruises and black eyes from the earlier brawl, but seem to be in decent spirits. And Justin kind of gives you a wave and, Well, hey there, little fella. Do I know you?
Very funny. It's me, sorry.
Oh, Dr. Koo, I'm so sorry. Very rude of me. I know everyone's still getting a bit used to their new blood and all that.
It's definitely strange being down here. Well,
Is there...
I kind of thought
Do tell, miss.
a little bit. I thought.
I can't hear you right now.
Hello.
Okay.
That's because Jeremy walked away.
What the fuck is fine?
And say, I thought that, even though we're competing against each other, doesn't mean that we can.
Of course, that stands to reason. Although, I wonder who you're going to be going up against today.
Well, if it's you guys, well, I mean, there's not much we can do to control it.
No hard feelings. Just admit I'm curious. Me and the boys are going to be heading down to the weapons locker and see about getting ourselves some bows. Apparently, it's against the rules for this round for us to be using our firearms, so we're going to be acquainting ourselves with archery. Luckily, one of ours is a practiced archer, so he knows what he's doing. He's going to show us the ropes.
Oh, are they opening it for everyone then? I would.
Way I hear it, it's first come, first serve. Might want to get
well,
there.
We better get going. Yeah, we better get going. I'll call. Come along, Greylog.
Come on, boys. Let's get down to the locker before everything good's taken up. And you see, in addition to Al, 5 additional humans file in along with Justin and Al. Shall we, miss?
We shall.
And the 9 of you start making your way to the weapons locker. Paul, exploring the vessel. You can hear a little scuttle as the twins are keeping up with you, as they seem decently confident in the craftsmanship of the weapons they have, that they don't feel the need to transfer them to something else. And as they catch up to you and you start to explore, are you looking for anything in particular or just kind of wandering?
I'm looking for something to.
Well,
I was asking Paul.
Well, sorry, mentioned I need to make a generous donation, which frankly I'm trying to think how much that is.
Well, there's always your local commoner now.
I mean, he wasn't gonna. No, he wouldn't take from you. He's just gonna.
You can't do anything to benefit yourself, Jeremy.
Yeah,
technically can.
I love how the moment he like his class requirement is you can't be selfish. He's just fucked.
Well,
yeah,
technically,
I even say something like that, but I thought against it.
yeah, technically he can now. He's no longer.
Yeah, it's true. You can now.
No longer important.
Like, man, thank God that druids don't have that requirement in 5th edition. I'm not even saying from a gameplay perspective. I'm saying from a Jeremy trying to play a druid perspective.
Yeah.
I feel like from a gameplay perspective as well as relevant.
So please tell me this isn't permanent that he's lost his druid magic.
I already promised you off camera that unless you request it, changes made to your character via mechanics aren't permanent. But you can request that they be made permanent if, for instance, you genuinely like the way a certain mechanic works and you want to keep that.
I'm good.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Might be an inch. Honestly, I bet Austin would like the challenge. Make commoner good.
Like, make commoner good. I
Can
mean,
you imagine Jeremy just make a commoner 24/7?
At that point, you're just kind of a fighter, just a weird fighter.
Yeah, you're just a shitty fighter.
I guess.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, Paul, you're looking for so you're looking for a place to make a charitable donation.
I guess he'll kind of look. I mean, he'll go mainly explore, yeah, and see if there's anything that he feels that would be reasonable enough to give the donation to.
Okay, roll a d20.
Alright. Boom. 16.
You search the ship up and down with the twins at your back. You see that the Major League fighters, which are closer to the armory, have already gotten there before the minor leaguers did, and are currently squabbling over who gets what weapon. And you just kind of pass them by unless you feel like making a charitable donation to one of the fighters or something. And exploring the ship, you head to the top deck and check some of the shops. You don't see anything in the way of like a proper charity or like a church or alms to the poor or anything. You don't see anything that you could classify as something that would be a strictly charitable donation. However, a part of you suspects that if you just do give enough money being charitable, you suspect that might count. But yeah, nothing jumps out to you as an obvious option, but but you do suspect that it may be possible to just basically give enough money to another fighter or another person on the ship and call it a day.
Everybody drinks at the tavern.
That is true. You could just buy a round for everybody at the tavern or something.
All right. Okay. Is there? He's got. I guess with that kind of thought process, can he find any? I guess fighters. Any fighters that look like they're in need of money?
Okay. Any preference on which league?
No, he doesn't care.
Okay. Kind of wandering the various festival stalls and shops and bars of Plundan's top deck. You make your way into the tavern where Avaben had been hanging out for a lot of the previous week, and you see that a lot of the humans from the minor league, you notice that to your surprise, they're not even bothering to visit the armory either. They're just hanging out at the bar and drinking. And you see a group of people that you recognize one of them, the human, from the minor league locker room. Who is currently kind of nervously chattering with the bartender, and you can see him kind of patting at his pockets. And as you kind of curiously make your way closer, you can just make out him saying, I must have left it in my other jacket. And the bartender kind of rolls their eyes and just like, I was in the stands, jackass. Your clothes didn't change. Pay up or fuck off. And he kind of looks to the other four who are with him, who just kind of shrug. And he kind of looks around before his eyes settle on you and just, hey, you, suit guy.
Yes.
I remember you. You're one of the Divine Five, right? You're cleaned up the locker room.
That is the name we've gone by, yeah.
And he puts an arm over your shoulder, a little too close for a perfect stranger whose name you don't even know, and he gives you a smile. And it occurs to me that the other fighters never really paid you back in any way for doing that for us. Ain't that right?
I mean, I never asked them to.
Well, yeah, because you're just such a good guy. But I think it's only fair that someone makes it up to you. What do you say we get some drinks?
This guy's idea of making it up to someone. All right, I'm going to let you buy me drinks.
I mean, yeah, Paul. If you didn't already gather, this guy strikes you as something of a con artist. Because you notice he's phrasing it in such a way to where a foolish person might genuinely be fooled. Like, yeah, let's go out for drinks. And then, like, you can gather he's probably going to try and put it on your tab.
Yeah, I mean, even that, it wasn't really my concern there, but, I guess, I'm not really in the mood for a drink, really, but,
Suit yourself.
He'll kind of think to himself, like, well, he'll kind of reach into his coin pouch and pull out 10 gold. He'll pull up 10 gold and kind of look at it and, But, if you wish to continue on, you may. Here's a little bit of the funds I have.
Oh, you're a diamond, mate.
A little bit. No problem.
Yeah. How much are you giving him?
He's giving him
Said
10.
gold.
Yeah, 10 gold, aka half my funds.
Okay. He eagerly holds out his hands and takes the gold and immediately walks off and slaps the gold down on the bar. And some drinks for me and the Star Strikers.
Learn some information.
Okay. And Paul will kind of continue on. He's gonna look for more people he feels like he'd be enough money.
Alright, so you're gonna keep looking for people to give money to?
Yeah, he never specified what generous would be considered, but he's just like, you know what?
Okay.
I don't need the money.
Alright. Paul, satisfied that you had done something charitable, even if the man himself is less than kind. However, as you pass him by to go deeper into the bar to see if anyone else is struggling, he does pat you on the shoulder and said, "Hey, thanks, man." And he smiles and holds out a hand to you. It was Paul, right?
And he'll kind of take his hand. Yes. I guess I didn't really get your name.
Oh, believe it or not, it's actually Paul too, but my friends just call me Paulie. Paulie Jackson.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. So what's your whole deal, if you don't mind me asking? And he kind of starts sipping at the beer he had bought with your money.
What do you mean by my whole deal?
Like, you're in the fights, right?
Yes.
So I'm just curious, what's your, your sword guy, bow guy, magic guy?
Combat typically isn't really my biggest suit. It's more just I typically take the blows for my party.
Ah, good man. Me, I'm the leader and specialize in long range. Used to use guns, but since it's not really an option anymore, I was hoping to get my hands on a decent bow.
I know I did hear about some armory, how open it is.
Yeah, but I don't really feel like getting into a fist fight over a bow. I'll take whatever's left. My friends and I know how to engineer something useful out of even something basic. We'll make it work. Well, I guess see you in the arena. Thanks for the drinks, man.
It is no problem. And he'll get up and start wandering off.
Oh, hey, before you go, sorry, just one more thing. I see that some of your guys, some of them look like casters, and I see a few of them carry bows. Do any of them use crossbows out of curiosity?
Kind of. Does Avaven use crossbow?
I usually uses a bow.
As far as I can remember, I don't believe I've seen them use such weapons.
Yeah, alright. I was just curious. Alright, take care.
Alright. I will see you, I guess, probably on the battlefield or.
He kind of raises his half-empty glass to you and downs the rest as he and his friends start gathering up and drinking as well. You can see he's accompanied by what is currently. You recognize that he had several friends with him in the locker room, but obviously their appearances have changed. He is currently being accompanied by an elvish woman, a half-orc man, a halfling man, and a half-elf man.
And as this note, he'll kind of nod to himself and just continue on. His part of the job is done, but
Yeah, you're part of the negotiation.
Yeah.
Okay. And now we turn to Avaben making his way to the arena. Avaben, as you approach the arena, as Imamu had promised, you see that at the kind of rolly door of the arena, you see that a list has been stabbed into the wood by a dagger, and from that list is a list of all the matchups for tonight's fights. You can see that there's a small crowd of people from the top decks who have come down to see who's fighting who and presumably start placing bets. But you can see the door is kind of half rolled up so that you can kind of duck under it to get into the arena to practice. But you can clearly see the list as you kind of weave through the crowd if you want to take a look.
Sure.
All right. Are you just going to look for who you guys are fighting today, or are you just going to see all the matchups?
Just who we're fighting.
Okay. Avaben, as you kind of gently work your way through the crowd to get closer to the door, you can hear whispers of oh, the champion's fighting, and everyone's excited to see their favorite fighters fighting. As you get close to the door, you glance up and you see that your names are on the very bottom of the list. You see tonight, Arena 1, the Divine Five versus the Star Strikers.
Very interesting.
You recall that the Star Strikers were sponsored by Bloody Blake, one of the pirate brethren.
Interesting.
Specifically, just in case you care, I'll pull up the list here. Sorry, I had to pull up the list here. You remember that, you recall that Bloody Blake is Brother Pisces.
He's a fish.
Yeah. So yeah, your team tonight in one of the arenas is going to be fighting a team called the Star Strikers, who are sponsored by Brother Pisces, aka Bloody Blake, one of the pirate brethren of Nassau.
Interesting.
Keeping that information in mind, you kind of duck your way under the door and make your way out into the arena.
Did that kid show up like he said he was gonna do?
Well,
curiosity.
Well, you haven't seen yet. As you step out into the arena, you see that it is mostly empty right now. However, you do see there are two other people who are already there. As you don't know this obviously, but the minor league are just waking up and getting situated, and the major league are already squabbling over the armory. You see that indeed the Swarm Storm is present in the arena, and currently being kind of mad dogged by the now elvish champion.
Interesting.
Do you wish to just stick to your practice or make your way a little bit closer to see what it is that he's given him the business about?
I guess if Avon will go over there and see what's going on.
Okay. Making your way over to where the one sponsored by Brother Ares and he who is sponsored by the Adventuring Bureau are. It's less of a heated argument and more of a lecture, if you catch my meaning. But as you kind of cautiously make your way closer, you can see that Tamatwa is kind of grilling the Swarm Storm, who looks like really nervous and uncomfortable. And he's like, "I'm sorry, sir. I'll take one of the other arenas. Fine. I just." Don't you know, brother? This is my arena, my ship, my rules. And Tamatwa gets the arena for the morning. You can have it when the sun's at high noon and not a minute before. Do you hear me? Yeah, yes, sir. I hear you. Very loudly, in fact.
Can Raven try to test one of the explosive arrows by shooting it in the sky?
Sure. Kind of pulling out one of your explosive arrows. You kind of examine it. And again, it's a little bit of a longer.
Wait, are they
harder...
only contact-only explosion usually?
No, we've established that they can work because you did that to Grendel, remember?
Yeah, okay. Just making sure.
But didn't they shoot a tree or something?
He had technically blocked it with his hands, but if I recall, the second shot had exploded over his head or just nearby. Either way, you pull the arrow, giving it a proper longbow pull. And that sound of the arrow loosing alone is enough to get their attention, as Tamatwa immediately twirls the spear and levels it at you almost instinctively, and the Swarm Storm crouches down into almost like a sprinter's position, and with their attention firmly locked on you, the arrow whizzes down a fair distance behind you before exploding. And you notice, curiously, that the explosion is smaller than what you're used to. It appears the powder affected the arrows. The blast is still present, but smaller. Likely because the effect of gunpowder was not... Sorry, go ahead.
Everyone's like, they still work. Good.
You kind of nod to yourself. More than likely, the explosion is smaller because in the early Third Age, they obviously would not have as ready access to gunpowder. But they still work, even if they're not as powerful. And as you turn, you see Tamatwa kind of rolling his eyes, and he turns to continue grilling the Swarm Storm, who's just already kind of jogging over to you, and just... Wow, that was super cool. I did not know you had special arrows. I'll definitely have to keep that in mind for the fights. Can you always do that, or is that just a thing you can do right now? Did you make those yourself?
In a sense.
Is that in a sense oh, kinda but kinda not, or is that in a sense totally not and I just want to take credit for it?
Whatever you want to believe.
Oh, you're so cool. Do you know who you're up against tonight?
Let me roll to see if I can remember that, because I already forgot their names.
My God.
18. Alright, I have a suggestion. Give me a bastardized version of their name.
You remember it was the Galaxy Guardians or something like that?
It was the Galaxy Guardians or some stupid shit like that.
Oh, really? I didn't know they were in this fight. Oh, it's so cool. I have to go meet them. Well, I hope you do really well, especially with that whole explosive arrow thing. Do you need the arena? I can clear out. I was already going to clear out because, frankly, the big guy's real scary, and I was just going to head over to Arena 2 for a little bit. Yeah, so I'll just give you guys some space. Yeah. I'll see you guys around. Yeah. Hi.
The contract that Avon signed, was there any part of it that said certain people
Nope.
Get access to areas more than others?
Not in the slightest. Nor was there any mention from Imamu that the champion gets those kind of privileges. He gets the luxury bedroom and gets to use the spear. That's all you know.
Avon's gonna be... There's no rule on the contract that says we can't use this arena.
Yeah, but there's no rule about him punching me in the face either. And while I definitely know he's not going to break my jaw or anything, because like I've taken cannonballs and not been that hurt. Something about me falling into that pool really fucked me up. Sorry, I probably shouldn't be swearing. My auntie says I shouldn't swear. It really messed me up. Anyway, it's just I don't want to make enemies. You know, I'm new here, and I'm just a powder monkey. He's the champion. He knows what he's talking about. I'm sure.
Yeah, well, if he tries to, I guess, sabotage me and get caught, that's him done. And he gets to lose the spear and his fancy bedroom.
Wow, you're really confident. I admire that.
And plus
Well,
the captain is sponsoring my team, so
he gives you a smile and, if you're sure that it's all right, I'll just be over by the siege tower. I need to make sure that I can still swing around proper. I need to stay on the move. Captain Schilling says that it's best I stay on the move. Go for their legs. Make sure that they don't get a hand on me. That sort of thing.
sounds like a fair plan. I'm just going to take a couple of practice shots to make sure I've got everything down.
You ain't doing shit in my arena, kid. You heard what I said to the boy. You can come here whenever it's noon, not a moment before. I need to practice.
If you could show me the part of the contract that says that, or at any point where he said you have the power to do that.
You calling me a liar, brother?
Yes, actually.
He and you kind of stare each other down for a while. Roll me a d20.
He's gonna be like, do you really want to risk everything on an arena that is so big that we could that we could do whatever we wanted and not bother each other? Roll a d20. 13.
He kind of scoffs a little bit. And you see how big these muscles are? I need this arena. Unless, of course, and he kind of levels the spear in your direction. You want to make this more of a practice match than training. I'd be more than happy to oblige, brother.
I don't intend to do any kind of sabotage. You know that's not allowed in the rules. That's actually written in the contract.
He scowls and furrows his brow, and after staring you down for a while longer, just rolls his eyes and twirls the spear over his shoulder, and bunch of newbies think they can boss around the champion. I'll take one of the other arena then, but you watch your back, brother. I'd hate to see another dark elf go the way of my sisters.
Well, consider the feeling mutual.
He gives you a very dark-looking smirk before twirling the spear again to make it more of a walking stick, and with, to his credit, a bit of a degree of poise, makes his way out of the arena. And the moment he crosses the threshold of the doorway, you can immediately, even from here, hear the uproar of cheers from the adoring public. And you can hear him immediately just like, oh, please, oh, no, of course I'll sign that for you. Well, you want that on your chest? Oh, can do, miss. And just fucking playing the crowd like a fucking master. Wow, I can't believe you actually got him to leave. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. You first.
We'll see how much of that show actually translates.
You should be careful, though. I think I remember one of your friends, the elf guy. I think I remember him pointing out that, just because they say you can't sabotage anybody and get caught, I mean, he's the champion. If anyone can do it without getting caught, it'd be him, right?
Well, if I catch one of them doing it, I'll introduce him to some of my special arrows and then drag him to the captain for him to be tossed off the ship.
Wow, that's super cool. Well, I'll be over here on this side. You can have that side. Just try not to shoot any of those arrows my way. I mean, I'll probably catch it. I get this kind of tingle sometimes whenever something's coming at me and I can catch it or dodge it. But I don't want to waste any of your good arrows, you know?
Understandable.
Well, I suppose we're not really doing names here, are we? Good luck, Mr. Five.
And to you as well.
And with that, Vaben, you twirl another arrow to bear and draw it back as he's ready to take some practice shots. As the Swarm Storm excitedly just continues to babble to you from across the arena as he's like practicing his own abilities around the siege tower. Asari, you and Greylog make your way to the armory to secure yourselves some weapons. Paul, you and the twins trawl the festival areas on the top deck in search of charitable things to do. Your wealth is half spent, but for the time being, you have secured that you will remain a paladin. However, all is not well. Greylog has accidentally sabotaged himself and is now a commoner, and Avaben has stoked the flames of rivalry with Tamatwa, the champion, who, with 300 years of experience in this tournament, may now be looking to potentially sabotage you. And you all read the same contract he did. It's not about doing it or not doing it. It's about whether you get caught or not. As Asari and Greylog with the Seven Samurai make their way towards the armory, the twins and Paul make a sort of kinship with the Star Strikers, and Avaben stokes the flames of rivalry with the champion, and the flames of friendship with the Swarm Storm, the mana-mutated powder monkey of Brother Ares, who was his last-minute pick to join the tournament. Your first session of First Edition Dungeons & Dragons is going great, and that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Great. Yeah, great.
Yeah, it's great for me.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh. Spadudios. If you want to see more of my DMing, check out twitch.tv/GrahamCrackers, GrameCrackerz, for my Friday campaign, The Goldshine Investigations, at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time, featuring a party of investigators trying to unravel the cultish conspiracy that threatens to plunge their homeland into war. Check out our website at officiald5hub.info, resurrected from the grave like a filthy necromancer who's learning how to play First Edition Dungeons & Dragons. Check out our link in chat to join our official D5 Discord server if you want to hang out with us directly, and support our episodes posted on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Google Podcasts, and the iHeart Podcast Network, wherever you happen to get them from. For our audio listeners, catch us live on Mondays at 9:30 Central Daylight Time on twitch.tv/Odd Tornado Productions, and check out Odd Tornado Productions Official on Tumblr to find links to our other works, including our Still a Paladins Twitch channel at twitch.tv/AustinFreak123. If you enjoy what we do, please support us on Patreon. That link's about to be posted in chat as well, or on Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/Odd Tornado Productions, and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/TornadoOdd. The TNO are in fact capitalized. If you want to see more of this party, plus or minus a few, tune in tomorrow, Tuesdays at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time, for our Tuesday game of Black Ink and Blue Blood. Featuring a party of politicians and nobles trying to unravel a political conspiracy if they can stop stabbing each other in the back long enough.
Now, you keep saying that, but they're better.
Thanks, everyone at the table, so much for playing. Thanks, everyone at home, so much for watching. And we'll see you all next week.